So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, as usual, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. We will go through different sections of it. We will try to understand the important articles which can be important for our examinations. So let's start with the discussion. Here you can see we will be going in this format. First we will starting with the practice question and then we will move to the facts of the day. Okay. Here we will be discussing certain, you can say, facts which can be used in your prelims or mains examinations. Okay. Then moving further, know our constitution. Here we will be talking about the center state relations today, and since this is a vast topic, we will be talking about the legislative, you can say, relations as of now. Okay. Then we will be moving to the further financial, administrative, etc. Okay. Moving further, we will be discussing these 3-4 important articles, that is temple regulation in India. Recently you know that there was this controversy with respect to the prasadam at the, you can say, Tirupati temple. Okay. So with respect to that, there is this demand which has been raised by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. So we will be talking about that demand and we will be seeing this, you can say, legal aspects through which these temples are being governed in India. Okay. Then we will be moving further to the next one, that is ISRO's mission to Venus. Okay. So we will be talking about this particular mission. We will be seeing that this is the second time we are going for the interplanetary missions. Okay. So that is there. Moving further, China's aggressive stimulus. You know that China's economy is not performing very well nowadays. So they are coming up with a very, you can say, few ideas and the stimulus to revamp the economy. Okay. So we will try to understand that factor as well. Then moving further, there will be one article for your own read, and in the end there will be a practice question. Looking at this particular slide over here, here you can see this is the front page, and here their third meeting. Now on the sidelines of the UNGA summit which has happened. Okay, so on the sideline of that we have again met with the Ukrainian president. Okay, we will be talking about that article as well. Then here you can say High Court upholds the government not to probe Siddaramaiah. You know that there was this Muda scam which we have already discussed. Okay, Muda land scam was there. If you don't know what is this, so there are you can say videos on our YouTube channel, so you can go and watch videos related to Muda scam. Okay, in that case particularly, High Court has actually give you can say uphold the government's permission with respect to the probe against Siddaramaiah. Okay. Then here you can say all eateries must display names of the owner, says Yogi in Uttar Pradesh. Okay. So we will be talking about this article. We will be giving a passing reference because it is a something which has happened in a state. So that won't be very much important for us. But the thing is, we will be seeing that what kind of, you can say, law which has been invoked over here. Okay. Now let's move further. Before going ahead, we will be seeing the practice question. Which of the following region is closest to the Amazon rainforest? Okay. Sahara Desert, Arctic Circle, Andes Mountain, or the Great Plains. Okay. Now looking at this particular, you can say, physical map of South America, you know that this is the portion, this particular portion is basically the portion of Amazon forest. Okay. And if you look at this particular area, this, okay, so you know that these are basically Andes. Okay, the Andes mountains are there. Here they are thin, but here you can say they have a wide expanse over here. So these are Andes mountains. So we can say that it is in the vicinity of that. Okay, so that is answer is Andes. Okay, Arctic Circle obviously cannot be the answer. Okay, Sahara Desert, when we talk about, that is also not an answer. Okay, that is in African continent. So option C is your right answer. That is the Andes mountains. Okay, now we have discussed the importance of Amazon and why Amazons were in news. We have seen that earlier that 40% of the Amazons are unprotected. Okay, so any kind of government support is not there. Other than that, recently there are these fires which are there, or you can say Brazil and Bolivia are facing maximum fires right now. Okay, so all these things, because of all these things, Amazon has been news. So please give, keep a trace on this particular region. You can say you can go through the physical features nearby Amazon. You can go through the rivers in this particular area. You can go through the boundaries of the states. Here Brazil is the you can say largest country over here. So you can look for the boundaries. I told you that Brazil has the boundaries with all the states in South American continent except for 2. Okay, you can tell me in the comment box that which 2 states were that. Okay. Now we can move further. Before moving further, there is this announcement that our GS Foundation course, when we talk about the UPSC prelims and mains preparation, GS Foundation course are available at all these centers: Lucknow, Prayagraj, Jaipur, Karol Bagh. So admissions are open. When we talk about Lucknow, the batch will start from 16th of October, Prayagraj 3rd of October, Jaipur 7th October, and Karol Bagh 17th October. When we talk about Indore branch, the admissions are open, so you can directly visit the branch and take admissions, or you can call on this number, that is 8010440440. Okay, again 8010440440. You can call on this number and get your inquiries, you can say, or your confusions and the inquiries fulfilled, or you can directly visit the branch and then get enrolled over here. Okay, let's move further and let's see the facts of the day. Now here you can see International Big Cat Alliance. Now see, here you can see that I have taken 4-5 lines, that you don't have to actually go through all these things. Only thing which is important over here is that India has joined it. Okay, and India has joined it in 2023. Now if they are asking you about the, you can say, when we are talking about the big cat protections, okay, or the conservation of these cats, then you can say that we are having this initiative as well. Okay, now here you can say International Big Cat Alliance, IBCA, is a multi-country, multi-agency coalition of 96 big cat range countries and non-range countries aimed at conserving the 7 big cats. We will be talking about their species as well and their habitats. Okay, now idea was proposed by the India's Prime Minister in 2019 and officially launched in April 2023 to mark the 50th anniversary of the Project Tiger. You know that we have Project Tiger. Now here you can see that Project Tiger was started in 1973. Okay, please remember this, that is the year when we started the Project Tiger. Okay, now if we are talking about these 7 big cats, so these are basically, here you can see the tigers, lions, leopards, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar and puma. When we talk about these 7 species, these first 5 are found in India. Okay, we don't have jaguars and puma in India, so these 5 are found in India, so you can remember that. Now let's move further and see the constitution part. So we have seen till over here, till part 10 we have seen. Now we'll come to the next one, that is part 11, that is relation between union and the states. Hold on a second. Okay, so we'll be talking about the relations between union and the state. When we talk about the relations between union and state, we know that our structure is a federal structure. Okay, in spirit it is federal. When we talk about the article 1, it says that India is union of states. India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. Okay, now that is what the constitution says, that it is a union. Okay, but if you look at the different characteristics which are given in the constitution, you will realize that in spirit we follow federal system as well. Okay, so considering that in center government is there and every state has its own government, and now the relation between these two are governed by certain provisions which are mentioned in the constitution. The most important over here is that we have a 7th schedule as well. Okay, wherein the legislative power has been divided. Okay, now today we will be talking about the relations, and wherein there are 3 type of relations which is most widely, you can say, discussed. That is, one is legislative, second is administrative, and the third is financial. So today we will be talking about the legislative ones. Okay, now you know that in a particular you can say area or particular jurisdiction, legislative have their own rights. Okay, so here you can see article 245 to 255 discuss the legislative relation between union, that is the union legislature, that is basically your parliament, and the state legislature, these are your assemblies and the councils. Okay, now there are 4 aspects of the legislative relations. As we have seen that relations have 3 aspects and the legislative have 4 aspects in you can say further. So one is territorial extent. Now when we are talking about the territorial extent, that means that in the territory of India, when we talk about India as a country, in the whole territory, parliament can go for making a law. Okay, so that is clear. In the India we have further units. These are the small states which are there. We have 28 states and 8 union territories, wherein when we are talking about the states, state assemblies has, you can say, right to form laws over there. Okay, so in the state they will be going for the making the laws. Now in the overall, if we see the territory of India or the country, then parliament will make the law. Now the confusion will be there because these units are also part of this territory as well. So now where will you make what kind of law? Now that is, for that we have the 7th schedule. Okay. Now moving further, distribution of the legislative subjects. Now for that we have 7th schedule, which we have already discussed earlier as well, that in this there are 3 lists which are given. One is your union list, second is your states list, and third is your concurrent list. Okay, when we talk about the union list, it is clear that in the union list, whatever subjects are there, in that subject the parliament will have the exclusive authority to make the laws. In the union subjects, parliament will make the law, there is no doubt about it. Then moving further is the state one. In the state list, there are certain subjects are given on which state assemblies will have right to make the laws. Now there are certain subjects on which both state and the center can make the law. Okay. But if there any kind of ambiguity, if there any kind of contradiction is there between the center and state's law, to that particular extent, okay, parliament's law will prevail. Okay. So let's say there is this law where is one provision is given and that particular provision is saying that which is in contradiction with the provision of the parliament, okay, or the law made by the parliament. In that regard, parliament's law will be supreme. Okay. For example, when we talk about the Hindu marriage, okay, so overall India we have this age. For male it is 21 years, for female it is 18 years. Now recently there was this state, they have actually made this age for both male as well as female 21 years. Okay. Now here you can see we have a parliamentary law which is saying that 21 and 18 years, state assembly's law says that 21 years, there is this contradiction. Now in that case parliament's law will prevail except for one condition, wherein the president gives the assent to this particular provision, okay, this particular law. If president is giving this assent to this particular law, then this law will prevail in that particular state. Okay, I hope that is clear. Moving further, parliamentary legislation in the state field. When we are talking about certain, you can say, areas or certain exceptions are there wherein parliament can make law in the field of state list, or you can say in this particular list parliament can make law when Rajya Sabha will authorize parliament to make such law. Okay, Rajya Sabha is basically the council of states, and council of state is authorizing the parliament to say that you can make law on this particular subject. In that case, parliamentary legislation will be valid. Second thing, in case of president's rule, etc., you know that at that point of time the, you can say, legislative powers are transferred to the center. Moving further, center's control over the state legislation. Now center's control, where you will be having this control, one is president's rule. Second thing is, when we are talking about this presidential assent, okay, so we are saying that presidential assent means that the on the aid and advice of the council of ministers. So central government, a center's control is there, one thing. Second thing is, if this Rajya Sabha is giving power to that. Okay. Third thing is, whenever we are talking about a particular bill which is kept for the consideration of the president, governor has this power that he can actually keep a bill reserved for the consideration of president. Then also in an indirect way center's power is there. Okay, so I hope that is clear. This is about the legislative powers in short with respect to the constitutional provisions which are given in the article 245 to 255 in the constitution. Okay, and one more important factor over here is basically the 7th schedule which we have seen. There are 3 lists over there. Okay. Now let's move further and start our today's discussion, that is Vishwa Hindu Parishad launches campaign government control on temples mindset of Muslims, invaders and the Britishers. Now the thing is, here they are saying that when we are talking about the, you can say, medieval times, we have seen that there was some kind of you can say a particular empire was there which was trying to make a supremacy in the country and they are trying to propagate their ideology. At that point of time there were certain clash with respect to the temples. Okay, there was this attacks on the temple. When the, you can say, external factors came into India, they tried to, you know, loot these temples because these temples used to be the hub of economic center as well. Okay, they used to have a lot of treasure over there and that is why they have been attacked. After that Britishers came and Britishers realized that these temples are having a lot of worth, a lot of money inside them. So actually Britishers tried to took control of these temples. Okay, now in the name of administration they have actually took control of it and then tried to take away the treasure from these temples. Okay, now these are the opinions of you can say a particular organization that is saying that now it is time that you should, you know, take these temples out of the government's control because these are becoming the center of controversies, these are becoming the center of corruption. Now the idea behind the temple, or you can say regulation of this temple, was to make sure that we are actually going for the better administration of these temples. But again, obviously there are these, you can say, when we are talking about the prevalence of the corruption in our country, so that was one thing. Second thing was that when we see the incidents like which has happened in the, you can say, Tirumala temple, so something like that, that has this you can say negative impact on the minds of the society. Okay, so considering that, they are asking that we should go for the, you can say, trust, which, or you can say, there are organizations which will go for the control of these temples. And other than that, they have seen there this you can say discrepancy which is there, which has been, you can say, mentioned by this particular organization, saying that there are other religious you can say institutions which are having autonomy, then why not the Hindu temples. Okay, so these are certain things which has been discussed in this article. Well, we are not going into debate of that. We will be talking about the, you can say, legal framework with respect to the temple regulation. If you are interested in that kind of debate, you can go through this particular article. Okay, though there is this only one side of, you can say, what you call is arguments are made over here, so you can go through this. Okay, now we'll be talking about the, you can say, legal and the institutional frameworks. Okay, how these temples has gone to the government administration. Okay, so let's see. Article 25 clause 1 gives the freedom of religion. We know that article 25 and 26 are related to your freedom of religion. Now article 25 clause 1 says that you are free to propagate, profess and practice your religion. Okay, so that is one thing. Then coming to the article 25 clause 2 talks about the areas where state may intervene. Now when we talk about the secular fabric of our country, our secularism is not kind of the Western secularism. Okay, there is no separate compartmentalization between the state and the religion. We are saying that we will not interfere until unless something is going against the constitution. Okay, whenever state feels a need to intervene, in state will. Okay, so that kind of secularism we are following in India, and we are having this we don't have any kind of bias with respect to a particular religion, or you can say we do not have a religion for a state. Okay, so that is something which has been mentioned in our constitution. Now coming to 25 clause 2, that is saying that this is talking about the areas where state may intervene and make laws or regulate religious institutions. Okay, for the, you can say, various things or better administrations. Okay, so here you can say this particular right to freedom of religion, that is, again, it is not a absolute right. Okay, there are certain areas, if states think that that is going against the constitution or that is going against the society, in that case state can intervene. Okay, now coming to the article 26, they provide for the freedom to manage the religious affairs of the citizens and to subject to the public order, morality and health. Again, religious matter of citizens, these are personal matters, then you are free to manage your own religious matters. But again, there are certain, you can say, restrictions are there, that is public order, morality and health. Now these are certain things on which state can make a law. Okay, moving further, entry 28 of list 3 of schedule 7 empowers the both state and the union legislature to make laws on the, you can say, charities and charitable institution, charitable and the religious endowment and the religious institution. Okay, now here you can see entry 28 of the third list. Third is list is basically your concurrent list. Okay, we have just discussed. So in the concurrent list we have seen that both state and union has a, you can say, right to make the laws. Here you can see both union and states are having the, you can say, prerogative to make the laws with respect to the article, you can say, concurrent list. Okay, now entry 28 is talking about that charitable trust, charities, or you can say religious institutions or charitable you can say endowment, etc., on which state and union can make laws. Okay, so basically here we can say that the government can make law in this area. Okay, and article 25 and 26 are not absolute rights. Okay, now moving further, Hindu religious and the charitable endowments, that is HRNCE, several states across the country hold on. Okay, so sorry for that. Anyways, so Hindu religious and the charitable endowments are there in the several states of our country. There are certain legislatives which has been made by the state government over here. So across the country have enacted legislative and the regulatory frameworks to regulate these institutions through the power accorded by the constitution. Okay, so to, you can say, regulation of these institutions, there are various laws which has been made by the states. Okay, when we talk about Tirumala, we have this Tirumala Tirth Sthanam trust is there. So considering that, they have made a law, okay, and that law is basically regulating that particular temple. Okay, there is this body which is prescribed in the law, and that body will be created, and that body will be you can say having a bureaucrat heading over it, and then there will be the administrative function which will be taken care by this particular body. There are various states which are having such laws. Okay, Hindu Religious Endowment Commissions, there was in 1960 there was this commission. The commission declared that the government control over temples was essential to prevent the maladministration. Okay, so that was the initial idea behind the you can say such regulations. Okay, now if we talk about the certain arguments in favor and against, so we will be talking about certain things, since as I told you that article was telling you one perspective, so we will be seeing the both of them. So okay, in favor, if we talk about, so when we are talking about the social reforms, okay, earlier these temples used to be under a particular family. Okay, so let's say there was this priestly family which is actually taking care of these temples for years now, or for decades, and that is why there was this you can say some kind of you can say hierarchy which was there in the priestly class. Other than that, the family members were supposed to be part of the, you can say, all the rituals which are performed over there. So considering that, we have gone for the social reforms. This is to challenge the hereditary priesthood for more inclusive practices in the public temples. Okay, second thing is the representation of the marginalized section. You know that when we talk about the SC/ST communities, etc., so there was this biasness which was earlier there. Okay, then you know that there was various temple entry movements which has happened. So to make sure that after independence, after the constitution kicks into the force, there is no discrimination on that particular basis. For that also, there was representatives which were made, you can say the provision for the representation was made in the law, which are basically governing the temples over there. Okay, so that is the second thing. That is also the part of the social reforms only. Okay, representation of marginalized sections, ensuring SC/ST representation in the temple management, or you can say countering historical dominance. Here you can say there was this, as I told you, there are various you can say HRCE acts which were there. Here you can say Tamil Nadu HRCE act mandates SC/ST member on the temple board of trustees. Okay, so that is a very progressive step which was taken by the, you can say, state. Then efficient temple management. When we are talking about the temples, and if there is a private or you can say if there is a body which has no kind of you can say accountability or the responsibility with respect to the citizens, then the management might not be efficient. Okay, considering that, for the efficient temple management, the Charitable Endowment Act safeguarding the temple's asset and ensure proper fund allocation. Then community welfare. Now whatever kind of money which temple is generating, okay, so that should be used for the better activities, welfare activities. Okay, state oversights the direct temple funds towards the local welfare activities benefiting the community and the temple. Okay, so that these are certain things was there in, you can say, favor of the regulating these temples in India. Now what are arguments which are against it? Here you can say violation of secularism. Now article 25 and 26 which are saying that you have freedom, first thing. Second thing is you have you can say you can go for the regulation of your own religious matters. Okay, so these two things are given in the 25 and 26. Now this is actually talking about the secularism, that state has nothing to do with the religion. Okay, now again that is against the you can say there are certain you can say scholars which are saying that that is against the secularism, because state is here intervening. Sometimes too much intervention can be there because there is no defined compartmentalization which is there with respect to the way where state can and cannot intervene. Okay, moving further, non-uniform regulations, disproportionate focus on the regulating Hindu temples. When we are talking about the minority institutions, they have more autonomy. Okay, so considering that, we are saying that there is this non-uniform regulation. Moving further, erosion of operational autonomy. Okay, when we talk about the you can say a particular body which has been created under a law by the government and that will govern the, you can say, practices in that particular temple, that means that that body is having the authority, and the or you can say the kind of practices which are happening over here. So relatively the you can say priests etc. will have relatively lesser autonomy over here. So erosion of operational autonomy with respect to the workings of the temples. Then erosion of the cultural capitals. Okay, since you can say poor conservation effort have damaged the historically significant temple structures, as noted in 2017, UNESCO has said that there are certain temples for there you can say there was not a very proper maintenance. Okay, when we are talking about a particular structure being damaged, when there is a body which is not taking a proper you can say cognizance of that, that means they can go for the repair and not for the restoration. Now that is different. When you restore something, that means that the initial structure was actually you can say managed over here, maintained over here. Okay, but the thing is, when you go for the repairing, or you can say when you go for the reconstruction, then you are actually taking away the essential feature from that. Okay, so that is one of the things which can happen over here. Loss of the tourist potentials. If you are actually diverting the funds of the temple, okay, for other activities, that means that you are spending less on the temple. When you are spending less on the temple, on the maintenance of the temple, or the you can say revival of that particular temple, that means that the attraction or the essential element is lost, and since essential element is lost, the tourism might decline in that particular area. Okay, now, tribal and the indigenous community, state control may not respect the unique customs and traditions of the communities which are being practiced in that particular temple. Since there is a government's control, so obviously there are chances that practices might not be in line with the constitution or in line with the law. Okay, so that is, these are certain things because of which we are saying that that is against it. Okay, now we can move to the next article, which is talking about why ISRO planned a mission to Venus and why this particular mission is important. Okay. Now, when we talk about this mission, this will be the second time we will be sending an interplanetary mission. Okay, first was sent to Mars. Okay, that was in 2013, I guess. Mars orbiter mission was there. Okay. Now after Mars, now we are going to the Venus. Why we are going to Venus? Because Venus is considered as the twin planet. Okay, when we talk about the density, size, etc., we are saying that Earth and Venus are basically twins. Okay. Second thing is, it is closer to the you can say sun. So since these are twins and it is in the vicinity, it was earlier said that there might be a possibility that Venus might hold you can say possibility of life, but it was not there because of the temperature. But it was said that earlier, or you can say later period, maybe it can happen. So considering the origin, or you can say how Earth has became habitable and how it is different from Venus, all these things are important questions with respect to these two twin planets, and that is why we are trying to understand the atmosphere over there. I'll tell you some facts about Venus. When we talk about the structure or the composition of gases over there, there are various gases, but mostly you can say nearly 96%, 96.5% of the you can say composition is carbon dioxide. Okay. After that we have nitrogen, that is nearly 3%. N2, that is nearly 3%, and other gases are nearly 0.5%. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing, when we talk about the temperature of this particular planet is around 462 degrees Celsius. Okay, right now when we talk about the Earth's temperature, or in the you can say time of winters, if we look at the maximum temperature, that would be somewhere around 46, 47, 48, something like that. Okay, but that is 462, 10 times higher temperature is there. Okay, so that is another thing which is there with respect to the planet, this particular planet. When we talk about the atmospheric pressure over here is nearly 93 times of that which is felt in the ocean surface. Okay, when we talk about the oceans, when we talk about the deep lithosphere of that particular ocean, or you can say deep part where we will be seeing the you can say the stone or the rocks part which is there inside the oceans. Okay, so at that particular point, whatever pressure is felt, 93 times more pressure is there on this particular planet. Okay, so these are certain things which are different from you can say Earth's you can say situations. When we talk about the rotation of the Venus on its own axis, that takes time nearly 243 Earth days. Okay, how we take 24 hours to complete that particular rotation, it is taking 243 Earth days. Okay, So that is there, these things are there with respect to the Venus. Now let's talk about this particular article. Now Union Cabinet last week approved India's first mission to planet Venus, that is to be scheduled in March 2028, India's second year interplanetary mission after the Mars orbiter mission that was launched in 2013. Okay, this is to study the surface, atmosphere, ionosphere of the planet and its interaction with the sun. Okay, so all these things I have discussed, that why we are talking about all these things, because we are twin planet and we are trying to understand our own planet with respect to that. Okay, why it is important to study Venus? Venus is often referred as the Earth's twin. Two planets has similarities, mass, density, size, etc. It is thought to have you can say liquid water. Okay. Now, with respect to the liquid water, it was earlier said that this particular planet has the liquid water, but since it is in the vicinity of sun, okay, and because of the you can say high insolation which is received from the sun, these water has actually started to vaporize. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the vaporization, and we have just seen that the temperature of this particular planet is high, okay, and the temperature of this planet is higher than the Mercury. When we look at the solar system looks something like this. This is your sun, and then we have Mercury, which is the nearest planet, and then we have Venus. Okay, now when we talk about Venus over here, Venus is having higher temperature than the Mercury itself. If we look at this logic that this is the nearest planet and that is why highest insolation is there, and considering that we are saying that it should have the highest temperature, but that is not the case. Venus is having the temperature which is even more than Mercury. Why? Because as I told you that earlier there was water which was present on this particular planet, and then water was vaporized because of the insolations. And when we talk about these vapors are having this greenhouse gas effect. Okay, now this planet was there, and then because of this vapor there was this you can say layer which was formed around this particular you can say planet in the atmosphere, and because of which whatever insolation is coming in, that could not go out, and the heat got trapped inside the this particular atmosphere, and because of which the temperature has risen. Okay, and that is why the temperature of Venus is higher than the temperature of Mercury. So whatever greenhouse gas effect which we are facing on Earth right now, that has been witnessed in the Venus in the past, and because of which right now you can say water vapor are present, but water in liquid form is not present, and that is why still the temperature of Venus is very high. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now these are certain similarities and there are certain differences. As I told you, that difference one is the high, extremely high surface temperature. Why it is there, which we have just discussed now. Okay. Second is the atmospheric pressure. Why atmospheric pressure is high? Because when we talk about this particular atmosphere is thick over here. Okay, and that is why we are facing such temperature, such atmospheric pressure. Okay, Venus is much higher than on the Earth. The you can say pressure on Venus is much higher than on Earth, similar to the pressure felt underneath the oceans on the Earth. When we talk about the atmosphere of Venus, it is having 93 times thicker than the Earth. Okay, atmosphere is 93 times thicker. Since atmosphere is thick over there, and that is why obviously when we talk about atmospheric pressure, what is that? This is your Earth. Okay, you are standing at this particular point. You have atmosphere above you. Okay, so this is your atmosphere. Whatever pressure per unit area you are feeling over here, that is basically the weight of the atmosphere on you. Okay, so pressure is force per unit area. Okay, so basically whatever you can say force which you are feeling, or the weight which you are feeling above you, that is basically atmospheric pressure. Okay, similarly on the Venus we are facing this pressure since the atmosphere of the Venus is thick or highly dense, and that is why pressure is high over there. Okay, moving further, the third is it is having 96% of the atmosphere when we are talking about there. So you will be seeing that 96.5% is made up of carbon dioxide, and 3% is made up of nitrogen oxide, and 0.5% is made up of other gases which include sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, water vapor, argon, helium, etc. Okay, then there is this you can say clouds of sulfuric acid. So acid rain is common over there. So on Venus you will be seeing that precipitation in the form of acid rain is quite common. Okay, fourth, when we talk about, it is taking time, that is 243 days on the you can say rotation on the its own axis. Okay, so that is there. Now because of this particular time, we have this particular window which is coming every you can say 19 month, I guess. Okay, we will be seeing in the further explanation somewhere over here. So we have this particular window in which we have to launch the satellite. Okay, so that is why it was this satellite was supposed to be launched in 2023, but then for some reason it will be launched in 2028 now. Okay, anyways, Coming to the next, what will ISRO's Venus mission will look like? So as I told you, there is this window that is of 19 month, okay, in which that spacecraft should go over there, and considering that it will be launched in 2028. It will take around 140 days. Once this is the Earth's, you can say, orbit, to leave, after leaving this Earth's orbit, it will take 140 days to reach to the, you can say, Venus orbit. Okay, so that is there. Now moving further, when we are talking about the, you can say, mechanism through which this will be sent, so the same mechanism will be taken place over here that that we used in the Mars orbiter mission. This is your Earth, and there will be this orbit. We will be rotating around the Earth, and then after that we will be getting out of the Earth's orbit and enter into Venus orbit. Okay, so like that, and then it will be closely going to the Venus. Okay, so that will be the methodology which we will be using. Then moving further, how will Venus mission will different from the previous ISRO undertakings? Okay, so here we will be using the aero braking. Okay, so for that I'll be, you know, taking you to the next slide. So here we will be explaining the aero, you can say, aero braking, and what are some other missions which are planned to the Venus. So we have the Vinci in 2029 and the Veritas in 2031. These missions are from USA, NASA, and then we have InVision. Okay, that is from European Union, InVision. Okay, that is scheduled in 2030. Okay, so that is from the European Space Agency. So I hope that is clear. Now coming to the aero braking over here, that is kind of a methodology which is used wherein the atmospheric drag is used. Okay, so here you can see, as I told you, that we will be once entering the Venus orbit, so the you can say spacecraft will be orbiting like that. It will be slowly going, you know, near to the, you can say, Venus. Okay, so when it is coming over here, that will be time it will you can say looking at the surface of the Venus, etc. So this particular point where you will be seeing that if it goes inside the atmosphere, there are high chances that it might actually burn. So there is this drag which has been used, and to stop from going inside this particular, you can say, atmosphere, so we will be using the fuel over here. Okay, once we are out of this particular, you can say, area, okay, then you don't have to use the fuel. With the inertia only, this will go like this, and when it is somewhere over here, it will have this particular atmospheric drag, because of which the distance will get, you can say, this distance will be reducing. Okay, so with time we will be going closer to the, you can say, Venus. Now this is the final orbit where we have to reach. Okay, so for that, the mechanism which they are using, that is called as aero braking. Okay, I hope that is clear. You don't have to go much details into the this particular technical terms. Okay, now let's moving further to the another article that is talking about the China unveils most aggressive stimulus since the pandemic. Okay, after pandemic, you know that there was this gap in the Chinese economy, and that gap was realizing that the economy is not doing well. Okay, the demand in China is reduced. To, you can say, revive the economy, they are going for the stimulus. Like when we talk about you can say India, when we are announcing any kind of package, okay, so that is giving the stimulus to the you can say industry sector. So China is also going for the, you can say, such stimulus in the hope that this will revive the economy. Now but when we are talking about the scholars, or various economists, they are saying that that might not be the case, because people are not ready to take the loans. Okay, since there is no demand in the market, businessmen are not ready to take the loans, people are not taking you can say loans over there. So what is happening right now is that China will be giving you money to the businesses, and there is this rate cut which is also there. When we talk about the policy rate cuts, so that rate cuts will also be there, so the loans will be cheap. Okay, and other than that, there will be you can say some kind of incentives which will be given by the government, but again there is no one to take the incentives. Okay, so we'll be seeing whether this will work or not. So that is something which has been you can say introduced in China. Here you can say China's central bank on Tuesday unveiled its biggest stimulus since the pandemic to pull the economy out of the deflationary funk and back towards the government's growth target. Okay, more funding, and there will be the you can say interest rate cuts. Okay, to restore confidence in the world's second largest economy after slew of disappointment. Data raised concern of the prolonged structural slowdown which was seen in the Chinese economy. But there are some analysts which are questioning the productive questioning how productive the People's Bank of China's liquidity injection would be, because there is this weak credit demand. As I told you, from the businesses there is no credit demand, okay, from the businesses as well as the consumers, okay. Absence of any policy aimed at supporting real economic activity. Now they are giving you the stimulus, but any kind of real economic activity to increase the demand which is not there, okay. More fiscal stimulus may be needed to return growth on the trajectory, or you can say whatever target is there, their target is for the next year is 5%, okay. So they are saying that more stimulus is required, more work is required over here, okay. Now when we are talking about this particular thing, then central bank will in near future cut the amount of the cash that banks are required to hold. When we talk about the reserves bank should have, okay, in India also we have the CRR etc. So SLR, you can, so all these things are there, it is called RRR. So they are saying that we will be going for the reduction in the RRR requirement as well, so that more money will be there in the hands of banks to go for the lending, okay. So that is about China. Now moving further, we'll try to do whatever possible, Chauhan says, promises farmers in the first weekly meeting. Now the agriculture minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan basically has said that he will be going for the Seedha Samvad, okay, direct dialogue with the farmers, representatives of the farmers. So there was this first meeting which has happened, and farmers have suggested certain things. They have said that there should be fair price for all crops, okay, fruit, vegetable, milks, honey, it should have you can say similar on the lines of sugarcane. There should be these fair prices. More effective market intervention scheme should be there in the view of natural disaster, small farmers in crop insurance scheme. So when we are talking about the insurance, they are talking about second thing, they are talking about the prices over here. Action plan to save agriculture from the climate change, okay. So they have talked about the issues of climate change, protection to the crop from the stray animals, okay. When we are talking about these animals which are there, which are ruining the farms, so protection from the stray animals and uninterrupted export of agriculture products, okay. These are certain things which has been talked in this particular meeting. Now moving further, if we talk about House using AI for the proceedings in the regional language, says the speaker, okay. So artificial intelligence and the machine learning will be used in the proceedings of the parliament, wherein the whatever proceedings are happening in the particular language, that will be converted into the regional language. That is a progressive step, okay. Now this was talked at the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association of India India region, where they have talked about this particular thing. And then there is this 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference CPC, which will be held in November in Sydney. So with respect to that also they have prepared for it, and they have said that they will be talking about the, you can say, legislature to promote LGBTQ plus participation, use of AI in the parliamentary proceedings, violence and abuse of parliamentarians, human trafficking and refugees, and the immigration. On these issues they will be talking about, okay. So this was a part, you can say, passing reference to this article. As I told you, with respect to the, there was this incident which has happened, wherein it was put into limelight that there are certain you can say businessmen, or you can say when you talk about these food carts etc., they are spitting in the, you can say, food products etc. So that is kind of an adulteration which is basically happening over there. So considering that, the, you can say, UP government has come up with certain guidelines. Such guidelines were given by the UP police earlier, but the court has said that it is not for the police to decide the guidelines. So considering that, the government has given these you can say directions. Here you can say when we are talking about the taking cognizance of the incidents involving food adulteration, including the spitting or mixing urine with the eatables, the Yogi Adityanath issues a series of direction, including mandatory display of name and address of the operator, proprietor and the managers at the eateries across the state, okay. And Adityanath also directed that there should be a CCTV cameras in the food establishment, and that cameras should not only for the customers, that should be also for the workers of the establishment, okay. So that is also there. Now how did they do it? They have used the Food Safety Act, okay. So you can go and you can say learn about this Food Safety Act, okay. I hope that is clear. Now moving further to the next article, here you can say in the international law, first time the lawmaker Harini Amrasuriya takes oath as Sri Lanka's first woman prime minister in 24 years, okay. So this is actually if we talk about the overall, it is the third time a woman prime minister is there, but in last 24 years she will be the first one, okay. And she is having some linkage with India because she has studied in the Hindu college in Delhi University. So basically considering that, this article was there, she will be the 16th prime minister of Sri Lanka, and in last 24 years she will be the, you can say, first woman prime minister, okay. Okay, so that is given over here. You can go through this. There is nothing much. Just the thing is that she has studied in India Hindu college. She has done her sociology honors form over here. Okay, and again, second thing is she is the first woman prime minister of Sri Lanka in the last 24 years. Okay. Now moving further over here, Modi meets Zelensky, committed to stronger ties, peaceful resolution. Same thing, that we support the cause, we actually support the peaceful dialogue, we actually support the peace process. The thing is, we are saying that both the countries should come to the platform and then only peace negotiation could be done. All these things are there. India has said that we are committed to take part in the peace process. We are committed to be actually having some kind of leverage, or you can say we want to be the stakeholders in the peace process basically. Okay, because we have good ties with Russia as well, and we are having you can say good ties with the USA. Okay, and Ukraine is ally of USA. So these things has been discussed over here, that has been repeatedly said. Now where it has been discussed, so you know that this UNGA summit of future which has happened, and we have talked about that, and on the sidelines of that summit they have met. Okay, moving further, this passing reference to this particular movie, that is Lapata Ladies. Okay, so now this movie has been nominated for the Oscar. Okay, so if you want, you can say in PCS examinations etc, they can ask you a objective type question. So that is why I have given a passing reference. Now moving further, for your own read, there is this article, when did human first ride the horse? Okay, so you can go through this article if you are having any kind of interest, and in the end there will be a practice question. The question says, what is the composition of Venus atmosphere primarily made of? Oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide and hydrogen. Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.